Hello and welcome back again to Belmont Bunch. I'm Tom, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the NHL's predicament when it comes to trying to get the season going. They have laid out all the plans and they have their testing in place, and things were looking on the up and up. And now recently a few stories in a row have come out over the past week or so that have not been the most optimistic if you think hockey is going to be happening at the end of this month. So first we had Eric Engels of Sportsnet report a rough estimate of 75% of players. Now, how he got that, it was basically just a conversation. That is not like a hard number, but that was his guesstimate based on his chat with certain players. So that is concerning. Obviously there's no season with no players. Baseball has seen a couple players drop out, just not interested. MLS has seen a few players do the same. You can understand the situation these guys are in, because how can we tell them, we need, all right, you guys go back and play now, when in the U.S. the cases are back up and rising once again, further than the first half of the first wave. And that actually leads us into why it looks like Canada is trending towards having both hub cities for the playoffs, which seems like a good idea at this point if you're going to try to get it going. Edmonton and Toronto, I know Western Canada, I think Vancouver specifically was the one that had the fewest cases in North America, but that was also from like a few months ago, so maybe that's not still the case. But anyway, Canada seems to be doing better. So you know what? They've earned it when it comes to public safety. So I'll give them that. Panarin also, Artemi Panarin voiced issues with escrow that could lead to a player holdout, a player holdout of this season. It's kind of like a lockout, but the way things are going, it might not happen anyway, so it might just be part of a CBA discussion. Probably will be no matter what. But that is something of note. I haven't heard of any other players. I have my sources in the field, which is James stalking players. But I have my sources in the field, which is James stalking players. But haven't heard really from anybody else this yet. Anybody following Panarin's suit. That's a weird sentence. But anyway, the NHL also revealed more cases of COVID have happened since players have started having informal practices. Not a great sign if they're barely even back to practicing and we're already getting players, infected. Larry Brooks, this is following up on something we talked about a while back when we talked about the possibility of the Islanders buying out Andrew Ladd for no cost against the cap. So amnesty buyouts apparently have barely even been discussed. The cap is going to remain flat. So not great news for many teams, pretty much every team. For every team. Specifically, I think of Toronto, not being able to buy out anybody. Obviously they were able to get Marlowe's contract off the books. But, they're already pressed to the cap. They're $20 million over when you count LTIR, long-term injured reserve. The Islanders are, in a weird spot because they're trying to figure out, do they need a backup goalie for next year? Is Thomas Greiss going to have to be re-signed? Are they going to have any money to sign Taves, Barzal, Pulak, and Greiss for $10 million? No. No. Unless one of those guys volunteers to play for free. And Larry Brooks is the one, by the way, that reported that. New York Post, Rangers beat coverage. Brooksy, as Torts called him. But yeah, so this is just a little bit of news, a little update. Is it all crashing down for the NHL? I think they've done a good job of planning, but it might just be an impossible task. We will follow up with more as we get closer to training camp and let you know if this is really going to happen. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for subbing.